The internet has become the dominant technology of the 21st century. There are now over 3 billion users worldwide, and that number continues to grow. 1 in 3 of every single internet user is a child, that's to say below the age of 18. This rises to nearly 1 in 2 in parts of the developing world, whereas in the developed world it's around 1 in 5. There are very many positive things that children and young people are getting out of the internet. They can follow their favourite rock bands or their groups, their local sports team, and they can do their homework from school and engage in a whole range of activities that previously were unthinkable and unheard of. Crucially, what the internet allows children and young people to do is connect with their friends, connect with their family, and have a kind of extended social life online. But there are, of course, downsides to this new technology. Some of these are very well known, they've been very well publicised. And that's why we, as people who work in the child protection space and who work with children in terms of their welfare, have to know about them so that we can help children have a beneficial and a good experience online and get the most out of this fascinating and fabulous new technology. I'll give you a couple of examples of some of the downsides that I personally heard about. I was in Africa very recently, I won't name the country, but there some young children came to a conference and they told us, for example, that they'd been contacted by sexual predators who were living in the United States and who were paying them money via PayPal or Bitcoin or Western Union. I can't remember exactly which particular company was transferring the money, but nevertheless they were paying money to these children so that these children could perform live sexual acts on camera. Now, these children came from very poor families, from very poor circumstances, and they did it because they wanted the money. And what they said to me was that because nobody was actually touching them, because there was no physical contact with anybody, they didn't see it as sexual abuse. But actually what those children unfortunately were not aware of was the way in which those images might be used against them in the future and be circulated across the internet and find their way into the hands of paedophiles from many different sorts of the world, many different parts of the world. So this is one of the downsides of the internet, the way in which it allows people in remote locations, remote parts of the world to contact a child anywhere. And if that child is in a difficult background or difficult circumstances, they can easily fall prey or be vulnerable to that type of predatory behaviour. And that's why it's really, really important that child helplines are aware of how the technology can be used, both for good and above all for bad, because child helplines are often the first port of call, the front line that children come to when they get into trouble, when they're experiencing some kind of distress. So you, as people working with or for child helplines, need to know about that environment, about that online environment, about the kinds of things that can happen to children when they engage with it. So it's not only important so that you can help children who might find themselves in difficulties, but it's also important because of the information that you will be able to get about the lived experience of children in your country or in your area. Because that information, that data is vital in helping child helplines formulate and advise on policies to improve the position of children in their country. So it's two things that are important. One, helping children. Two, helping us understand what's happening to children so we in turn can get better policies and better services in place to help those children who we are there to serve.